Hi, garden rebels. Let's talk about pansies. Pansies, 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 pansy, violas, and how to take care of them all the way through the winter so you get the maximum amount of color in your hanging basket or your container or in the ground. So they work so wonderfully, but I want to give you a few tips to really make them rock and roll. Yellow is my favorite color because of the dark winter days, is that they can get long and lanky. And kind of give you an idea of this, you can see how this can be a little bit lanky. We can see this long extended growth oftentimes right here. So to keep your pansies a little more compact, you can pluck them. So you can pluck them at the branching, right? So you pluck it, and then they'll have more branching coming out of there. And you can pluck long extended blooms, especially if the blooms have gone bad. So even better. So like take this bloom right here that's finished, pluck that back, and usually I take the entire stalk and pluck it right off. That encourages more blooming. What happens when you let it, when the blooms just stay on there oftentimes, is you get a seed head forming, and that right there is a seed head. So it looks kind of like a small, actually, let me say it looks like a small watermelon, but it almost looks like it has two eyes, doesn't it? Like, hello, hello, I am a seed pod from a pansy. Now what happens is that will start to turn brown. Little tiny seeds form in that seed pod, and then suddenly one day it'll just pop open and all the seeds get dispersed. Here is a just about to open seed pod on a pansy, and here is a popped open seed pod. Can you see that okay? So you can see the little brown seeds there. Okay, garden rebels, now we want to use root power. This isn't even a choice when it comes to pansies. Adding in root power makes sure that all the essential nutrients are available for root growth. We just want strong rooting out. We've got a window of growing before all of that winter weather starts to hit. So all the cold, all the ice, all the snow, if we get snow, anything that might happen during the wintertime, we want better roots, because the better roots it grows, then the better your plants will do. So make sure you add in the root power before you plant. So let me go over what you could expect out there in the pansy world. And of course, there are lots of different colors. And there's lots of, and there's either straight, clear colors is what we call them, or there are pansies that have that blotch in them. So, or some folks will say the face. And all kinds of colors, different sizes of blooms that you might get. And for the Pacific Northwest, you really want a medium-sized blooms. I know you can get some colossal pansies with some really big blooms, but the problem is, oh, those are great underneath eaves or underneath the porch where it's protected from the winter wind. The medium-sized blooms are great because you get some good color and you get a few of those, and they can handle any of the pelting rain, wind, snows, ice, etc., etc. So they're pretty good on that way. Now you can also get smaller. So this is a medium-sized bloom. This is a medium-sized bloom. Yellow's my favorite color. And you have some really small blooms, and these we technically call violas, although they're all in the viola family. So this is what we call a viola, tiny, tiny blooms. What's good about these guys is that they're smaller blooms, but you get, as you can see on this, you get more of them. So also a little more compact. So if you want a tighter, smaller bloom, take a look at the violas. One thing you want to keep an eye out for are those frilly blooms. And these are ones that are kind of some of my favorites as well too. They're kind of frilled on the edges, and they actually handle the weather really, really well. So there's lots of different colors to choose from, lots of different sizes of blooms. Make sure you plant them with root power. And yellow's my favorite color. Guys, that's the show for the day. Always live your passion.